All right, so now I want to talk about why I don't want translation in my language lessons, why I don't use translation as a teacher or as a language learner in my lessons. And let me clarify, I'm not talking about translation in language learning, I'm talking about translation in language lessons, and there's a difference. So let me just go through some of my thoughts on this, and I know this is controversial. Some people translate everything, some people translate nothing, and some people fall somewhere in the middle. Feel free to leave comments below if you'd like to. So, why I don't want translation in my language lessons. This is really for my tutors because, especially with my Korean tutors, this is a difficult issue to deal with. They just want to translate everything, or not necessarily everything, but they want to translate, and I don't want them to. So number one, I prefer 100% target language usage, Korean, Spanish, etc. Two, translation is easy. I already know how to do it, and I can do it on my own before or after class. I should be the one to decide what needs to be translated and when. Okay, so that's an issue of learner autonomy. Three, ambiguity. It's okay if I don't understand something. My tutor can simplify the material, slow down, and repeat it. They can also make a drawing, show me a picture, or try acting it out. Whether the lesson is in person or online, both teachers and learners can easily find images online to show what they are trying to express in the target language. 4. Simplicity and slowness work better. Haste makes waste. I can wait to understand things, even until the lesson is over when I translate for myself if I want to, or the next lesson, or whenever. I'm not in a hurry. Circumlocution, talking about things indirectly that I don't understand is very helpful. I enjoy it. This should say, it helps build conversation skills, and that's something that we do as native speakers. We forget something or we don't know something, we describe it instead of using the word. 6, the camel's nose. Once the camel's nose, meaning translation, gets in the tent, soon the whole camel will be in the tent, meaning there will be endless, useless, frustrating, and confusing translation and what I call grammar dumping and vocabulary dumping, in which the tutor just, because it seems easy and helpful, just dumps all sorts of information on you that you can't process or use because it's not language learning, it's information about language. 7, context. Speaking only Korean or whatever the target language is helps me establish the necessary context for me to develop my neuroplasticity and understanding. 8, processing. Sometimes I need a little time to process things. Okay? That doesn't mean I don't understand or won't understand, or that translation will help. Translation won't help. It'll just slow me down. So I just need a moment or a minute or repetition or whatever so that I can figure things out in my head. And I know there's a lot of overlap here, or at least some, but that's okay. 9, flow. My mind gets into a state of flow during a language lesson in which the target language is used 100%. Translation, even one word, interrupts this, and it takes me a few minutes to get back into flow, meaning those minutes are wasted. 10, it's easier to control the level and amount of input if we don't translate. If translation is used, it's too tempting to increase the level and increase the amount of content beyond what is helpful. It's more helpful for me to work 100% in Korean, Spanish, etc., and go slowly and repeat the material as much as possible. 11, translation or borrowed words. I don't know if when the teacher translates, they're speaking English or Korean or Konglish using borrowed words or what. I don't know. 12, inaccurate translations. sometimes teachers translate words or sentences incorrectly. I've experienced that in language lessons before. And finally, it makes me think more in the target language and try harder to use and build on that knowledge, the knowledge that I already have. So I probably could think of more reasons, but in a nutshell, well, I guess this isn't a nutshell, but this is what I believe and what I practice in terms of language teaching and learning. This is what works for me. It might not work for everybody. We all have different contexts. Of course, if you're teaching a large group, if you're a native speaker of your students' native language, or a fluent speaker, there are different contexts. But my personal opinion, based on years of experience as a teacher and learner, is that translation should be avoided during lessons, and students should be allowed to take care of their own translation before or after lessons. They're going to translate for each other anyways, and they have their phones, so if they have to, they can look up words. But I don't want any English in my Korean or Spanish lessons, and I don't use my students' language during my lessons when I'm teaching. So let me know what you think about this, and have a good day.